In this course, you will learn how to develop your own fully functional ride-sharing application just like Uber and inDrive using Flutter with Firebase as backend. You will learn how to develop different car categories just like in Uber. For example, we have the car X, car XL, car SUV, and a sports car. So the user is allowed to place a ride request with their own chosen car type. You will learn how to implement push notifications in Flutter. So when the user makes a ride request, the push notification will be sent to the nearest available online drivers. So the driver can accept or cancel. You will learn and implement clean maps just like Uber and inDrive. You will learn how to draw routes from the driver location towards the user pickup location, and then from the user pickup location towards the user drop-off destination location. In this course, you will learn how to implement third-party APIs. For example, you will learn how to implement Google APIs, the Google Places API, the Google Direction API, and the Google Autoplace Complete Search API. You will learn how to track all the nearest available online drivers around the user current location, and how when a driver go online and offline, how we can track that online drivers and show it to the users on the user app. So that's where the user can simply see how much online drivers are currently available around him so that he can make a new ride request. So if you are looking to increase and enhance your knowledge to the advanced level using Google Maps, using the location features in your Flutter application, then this course is for you, as you will learn all these advanced concepts in this course. Create a new project, click on new Flutter project, make sure that Flutter is selected. Next, and here we have to provide our project name. We will give this name as users_app, and then make sure to uncheck all except Android and iOS. Here in the organization, you have to provide your name or your company name. So I write my name, com.amirkhan, and then click create. So as you can see, a new project has been created, and now here this is the default code on the main.dot, and from here let's remove the extra comments, and also let's minimize this and let's remove this my home page and my home page state. The next thing is we have to basically create a new page. So here inside the lib we will have our all coding files that we will create in the future in this course, step by step. So let's create a new directory, or you can say a new folder or a new package by the name screens. And inside these screens we will create our first screen, or you can say our first page, by the name sign_in_screen, or you can say login_screen. We have to import material.dot, and then we will create a stateful widget. We will give this name as login screen. For now we will leave this page empty, and we will just say return scaffold widget, and then from the main.dot this will be our first screen, which is login screen. Let's change the title. So the title will be users app, the theme of our this app. So the theme will be black. So for that purpose, here we have this theme data. Let's remove this, and We'll add brightness.dark, and for each scaffold widget, the background color will be black. That is, each screen will have a background black color as a default color. Then let's define the app bar theme, which will be background color will be black and foreground color will be white. Then comes the color scheme, which will be the primary color will be white, secondary will be gray, and the primary color simply means the text and icon color, default color. Whenever we add any icon or any text widget in our this Flutter app, for that the primary color will be white, or you can say the default color for that will be white and the accent color will be gray. Then comes the text theme, and the text theme will be white for medium large and title large. Then comes the buttons. So the default colors for our buttons will be, okay, the elevated button theme will be, the background color will be gray 900 and the foreground color will be white. Okay, that is the button text color white and the button color will be gray 900. And these are the default colors. That is, the overall theme of the app is black, the text color, icon color, and then of course the elevated button color and the text color for the button. So these are the defined colors which we defined here in the theme data. Now after the theme data, we, as you know, by default the Flutter app display a badge. We do not want that badge, so we will remove that badge, which is the debug show check mode panel set to false. Now let's work on the login screen. Return scaffold widget, body bullets, view, which is a multi-children widget. First of all, we will display an image from the asset. To use images in our project, we have to create a new folder for that. So right click on your project name and let's create a new directory. We will give it name as assets / images. Inside the assets images, we have the images folder in which we will keep all our images which we will use in our this project. Similarly, inside the assets, we will have another folder by the name fonts. So any font which we will use in our this project, we will add that fonts inside this font folder. Now let's include the path of our assets fonts and assets images in the pubspec.yaml. So assets, and then we have images folder, assets, and then we have in here we have the images folder. So anything which will be inside the images folder that we can use in our this Flutter project. Similarly, for the fonts, we can include that here. So first we add the family of the font, that is the name of it. Of course, we will add that here. And then after it, we say fonts, and then the path to that font, which we will include here. And that is inside the assets folder. We have fonts folder, and everything inside the fonts folder will be considered as fonts. Similarly, in case of assets, as you know, the path is inside the assets folder. We have images folder, assets, images. Anything inside the images folder will be considered as image. Now, in case of the fonts, we have to specifically define each font. So for example, let's compress this here, because now we are going to add two fonts. I will provide these two files These two are fonts, and this one is image file. You can download it, copy it, and then in here in our project, first of all, the image, inside the images folder, we will paste our image. So copy the image and paste it inside the images folder. Similarly, you can copy these two font files, copy it and paste it inside the fonts. You can see that. So in case of fonts, we have to define its exact path. So for example, we have Monster regular. So the first one, the family name is this, okay, the same name. In our project, we can access this font using this name anywhere we want. And then the path here, we have to include the exact name. So let's copy the exact name of it and simply paste it here. Similarly, the second one is this one. So we will access it by this name, bold, onset, bold, and then the exact path we have to add here. Now, for all our project, the default font family we can define. So we can define the default font family in here in our theme data. So for example, the default family will be this one. So we can simply add that family here. So any text which we will be using in this project, the default family will be applied on it, and it will be this family. So anyways, once you add all these things, click on PubGet. It's added successfully. Now let's come back to the login screen, and in here from our assets folder, inside the images folder, we have an image by the name userapplogo.png. And you can set the width of this image according to the screen size. .size.width. And according to the screen width, take 70% of the screen width for this image. Then we will add some space of size box height 12, and then log in as a user text, which is aligned at the center, and we apply some text style on it with font family, this one. Then after this, we have to display our login form. So using the padding widget, apply padding from the left, right, and top. Child column widget. Let's create a reusable widget. So right click on lib, new directory, ID name widgets. Now in here, we will create a custom text field widget. So I have provided this file or dot file by the name custom text field, download it, copy it, and then paste it inside your widgets folder. Now this is a text field widget which receive 4 things as parameter: the text editing controller, the label of the text field, and either the text field is password or not, and the keyword type for the text field. Then we have our text field, a basic code for implementing a text field on the user interface. With the controller, that is either it is the name text field, the password text field, or the email text field, etc. And then either it is a password text field. So in case of password, you know that if it is a password text field, and this will have a value true, which means it will be a secure dotted form. When the user writes password, it will be hidden. Then the keyword type, whether it is a number field, email field, or text field. And we apply some input decoration, and then of course the text style. So this is our customized text field. And now from our login screen, whenever we want to display, let's say anywhere in this project, a text field, we will just simply call that custom text field, to which we have to pass the required parameters. So this one will be for the email and then for the password. So let's define those controllers. For example, we have email controller and password controller. So first we will call for the email controller we are implementing, then the label and then the keyword type. Then some space, then the password text field. Let's add some space here. And then, of course, the login button. So you like elevated button. On pressed, we will call a method by the name login form validation. And we will implement this function here about the widget build. And let's apply some style on the elevated button. And we will apply on the padding on it, horizontal and vertical. Then after the style, can add the text widget. It will be login. Style, text style, and the font size will be 16. Also, we will apply the font family on it, which is this family, Mont Shared Bold. Now, after the login form, we will display some space, let's say of height 4. And then we have a text button which we will display. And this will be basically don't have an account, sign up here, or you can say create account here. Now let's quickly test our applications. I will test it on my phone. Next screen, which is the sign up screen. So let's create that inside the screens folder. We will give it name as sign up underscore screen. Let's create the sign up screen. So right click on screens, dot file, we will give it name as sign up underscore screen. Import the material dot stateful widget sign up screen. Now here on the sign up screen, we will have the same email and password text field alongside with name text field and a sign up button. So let's copy this from here and we can paste it here. Similarly, name and phone controller. And then from the login screen, we can simply copy this whole return scaffold widget and we can paste it here. Replace it with this one, scaffold. As this is a sign up screen, so we can say create new account as a user, and then we will have custom text field. Make sure to import the custom text field dot. So username text field, phone text field, and let's add some space between them. User email, user password, and this will be sign up form validation function, which we have to call here. And then we have the text button, which will be this one, that is, as this is a sign up screen. So we can say already have an account login here. And this is our sign up button, or you can simply write here create account or register account. Now when the user click on it, we send the user to the login page. So login screen, and similarly on the login screen, when the user click on the text button, send the user to the sign up screen. Let's test our application. Go to don't have an account, sign up here. So you can see that this is our sign up page. Already have an account, log in here. Don't have an account, sign up here. In here, in our form validation function, first we will take the input from the email text field and assign it to email. Then we take the input from the password text field and assign it to the password. And if the email is empty or the password is empty, then we have to display the message to the user. So we will create a reusable widget, or you can say a reusable function. So inside the widgets, create a dot file by the name snack bar, and we will give it name as display snack bar. It will receive the text to display and the context of the screen from where we are calling it. Snack bar content will be text widget, and we want to display the text. So using the scaffold messenger, we can display it. So this is how we display the snack bar. And now on the login screen, we can say display snack bar. The text will be all fields are required. Now we have to add basically email validator. Using the regular expression, we have to verify if the email format is correct or not. Similarly, we will do form validation for the password, name, and phone as well. So for that purpose, in our widgets, right click on widgets, new create a dot file. We will give it name as form underscore validator. We can say class form validator. Static rule is valid email, which will receive email as parameter. Return regular expression. I'll provide these characters or these expression. You can simply copy and paste it here. Dot hash match email. So this is for the email. Then for the password, that is the minimum character allowed are 6, not less than 6 and greater than 6. So 6 or more characters are allowed. Similarly, for the name, minimum 4 characters are allowed, 4 or more. For the phone, minimum 7 are allowed, 7 or more. And we do some regular expression, that is special characters are not allowed with the phone number. So this is our form validator. Now on the login screen, when we check the email, we will simply say else if, and then form validator. So if form validator dot is valid email, which means if it is not a valid email, the exclamation marks it represents. If it is not a valid email, then we say email format is invalid. Then for the password, if the password is not valid, which means it must be 6 or more characters. Otherwise, it will display this message. And then else login the user. Now let's validate the sign up page. So in here, we get the required input from the text fields and we assign it to their required variables. And then we check if name, phone, email, or password is empty. Simply display this message. Else if not form validator dot is valid name. If the name is not valid, then display this message. Similarly, then for the phone, then for the email, and then for the password, then sign up the user. Now let's check. So for example, on the login screen, if I click on login, it says all fields are required. If I type any email, let's say Olivia @ let's say a bad format, like not the correct format for the email, and let's say I type password. Then if I click on login, it says email format is invalid. So we have to provide a proper format for the email. And if I click on login, then you can see that. Now, if the user password is, let's say, less characters, let's say 4 characters, it will say password must be 6 character. And as you know that here we have added that it must be 6 characters for the password. So make sure that here write 6 on the sign up as well as on the login. So now let's check also the sign up form validation. So if we click create account, all fields required. The sign up screen, make sure that you verify the text field controllers. So for the name, it is name controller. For the phone, it is phone controller. Make sure to verify these. And then for the email, it is email controller. And then for the password, it is password controller. Now let's check out. So if I click create account, it says all fields are required. Then click create account. Then it says name must be at least 4 characters. So you have to provide at least 4 characters. Now if the phone number is, let's say, like this, it says phone number must be at least 6 characters. In this video, you will learn how to connect your Flutter project with Firebase for the Android and then for the iOS. So go to Google, simply search for Firebase, and here you have to just click on go to console, and then here you have to click on create a Firebase project. Here you provide your Firebase project name. Let's give it name as carpooling and ride sharing app, and then click on continue button. Then continue, and make sure to choose default Firebase account. Click create. So it is going to create our Firebase project. click continue, and here we go. This is our dashboard. Our project, our Firebase project is created. We will use the authentication and Firebase real-time database. So let's enable the authentication for email and password first. Click on get started. Here you can see this email password. Click on it and enable it. Okay, once it is enabled, click on saved, and then go to the build real-time database, this one, and then let's create this also. Then click next, start in log mode, enable. Go to rules, and here we have to allow the read write, so make sure to change this to true for read and write, just like this, and then simply we have to click on publish. After this we will do the setup, that is connect our app to our Flutter project to Firebase. So click on this gear icon, project settings, and in here first of all we will start from the Android, so click on this Android icon. Here we will provide our package name. Go to Android Studio and Android app build.gradle, and in here if you scroll down here inside the default config we have application ID. So we have to copy this application ID. First of all, if there is any underscore in your application ID, make sure to remove it, okay, just like this, and then copy your application ID, and simply we have to paste it here. You can give your name a nickname. Let's say for example this is our Android, so we can say users Android app, register. Then after this we have to download the Google services.json file for the Android. So once it is downloaded, go to your downloads folder. This is the file which you get after download. Copy it, and once you copy it in our Android Studio, inside the Android app folder, inside the app folder you can paste it. So you can see that inside the app folder we have Google services.json, and then make sure that you set the minimum SDK to 24. Basically for using Firebase services, this minimum SDK must be 24 or greater than 24. And then after it let's add the app level. Inside the app level Gradle file we have to add this line. So copy this and go to the app level build.gradle, and in here at the top we have to simply paste this line. Then go back and we have to copy this line now, and in our Android Studio inside the Android settings.gradle.kt, this file settings.gradle, and here we have to paste it inside this plugin. So paste that here. After this let's click on next, continue to console, and here we go. This is our users Android app. Now inside the Android Studio on our main dot we have to initialize Firebase. So for that purpose we have to basically use some dependencies. As you know, we are using the authentication, the real-time database. So to use that and to initialize Firebase here, we will also use the Firebase core dependency. So anyways, let's continue step by step. First of all, here add which is flutter binding dot ensure initialize. And then in the pubspec.yaml, we are going to add those dependencies, which is the Firebase core, and then we will use this for initializing Firebase in our Flutter project, and then Firebase auth for the authentication, and Firebase database is for using the Firebase real-time database. Once you add this, make sure to click on pubget, and it will install it in our project. So dependencies installed successfully, and then on the man.dart, make sure to initialize here. First of all, we will make this man asynchronous, and then we say wait firebase dot initialize app. Now let's test our application, and we will open up the Android emulator. So if our Flutter app runs successfully on the Android emulator without any error, then it means the setup is done successfully with Firebase for the Android. As you see, we get this NDK version error, and let me tell you, most of the time you will not get this error. So if your app runs successfully on your phone, it means you are good to go. Otherwise, if you get the same error, then make sure that we have to specify this Android this NDK version in our build.gradle. So copy this version, and then go to the Android app build.gradle, and in here inside the Android you can see this NDK version. You have to just paste that version number here, just like this, and make sure that minimum SDK is 24, okay, not 21. It is 24. Now let's install the app again on our Android emulator, and let's see the result. As you can see, the app runs successfully on the Android emulator, so we are connected successfully to Firebase for the Android. Now let's connect our Flutter iOS app with the Firebase. So for that purpose, we need to go to the Firebase console and click on the Add App iOS, click on it, and here we have to provide our bundle ID, or you can say our application ID. So go open up the Xcode, and in the Xcode you can open this users app Flutter project iOS module. So click on open existing project, go to desktop. As you know, here we have our users app, and then click the iOS module, select iOS module and click on open. So open the iOS module like this in Xcode, click on runner, and then click on sign in and capabilities. From here, if your team is not selected, make sure to click on it and select the development team, and then here this is your bundle identifier, so simply copy it, and then here we have to paste it, and we will simply name it as users iOS app, and then click on the register app. In case of iOS, it is very simple. You have to just download this Google services info.plist file, and when it is downloaded, go to downloads folder. We have to move this file inside the iOS module of our users app. So you can close the Xcode and minimize Android Studio, and you know this is our user app Flutter project. Inside the iOS module, go to iOS module and simply move this Google services info plist file from the downloads to your iOS module folder. Open up the Xcode again, because we have to run the iOS module in the Xcode. So our users app iOS module, let's open it, and then we have to link our Google services info.plist file inside our this runner, that is below this runner. Okay, so drag and drop like this, not above but below the runner, just like this. Okay, below the runner you can drag and drop, and then make sure to check these two, the targets. Okay, check this one and finish, and that's it. Now next thing is, let's close Xcode, and let's close this also. Go to the Android Studio and open up the terminal. Now we have to run the command port install, but before that we need to close the Xcode. Okay, make sure that the Xcode is closed completely. Okay, quit Xcode, and then inside the iOS module, go to port file. From here you have to remove this hash sign, that is, remove this. We will go with 16, that is 16.0. we will proceed with that. Then in the terminal, make sure to run flutter clean command first, and then we have to run the following commands, and all these commands I will provide, so you can just copy paste it from the file which I will provide. Okay, I will provide it. So you have already seen the file, just copy the commands from there and simply paste it here one by one like this. cd iOS. So we are now inside the iOS, and we can now run the port install command, and this will basically add the dependencies for the iOS app in order to use, for example, the authentication, the Firebase authentication, Firebase real-time database, etc. in our iOS app. We have to run the port install command. So anyways, once it is done, we are ready. Open up Xcode again, and then in the Xcode we will open up our users app iOS module in the Xcode. So let's quickly open it, and let's test the app on iPhone simulator. So from here in the Xcode, you can see this. Click here and choose the iPhone 16 or any other simulator you want, and click on this play button. So when you click on the play button, it will run the iOS app on the iPhone 16 Pro simulator. As you can see, it is building the iOS app, and once it is built, it will, as you see, build succeeded, and it will now run the app on the iPhone 16 Pro simulator. So as you can see, it is running successfully, which means that we have successfully connected the Flutter iOS app with Firebase. Here we will call the function get user account, and let's implement this function. Try on Firebase auth exception. And we will display the snake bar. So we can say exception dot to string. We have to make sure that the user is signed out. So we can say Firebase out dot instance dot sign out. However, in the try block, we will first authenticate the user. So we can say user Firebase user, and it will be a synchronous function, as we have to wait for the response either the user is authenticated or not with Firebase authentication. So we say Firebase or dot instance dot create user with email and password, and you have to pass these two parameters to it. Here make sure to add dot user, and then in here we can pass the two parameters, email controller dot text dot trim, and then the password, to which we pass the password value from the text field controller. This will create a user inside the Firebase authentication. Now if anything goes wrong, of course we have to catch that error. So for that purpose, here we can say dot catch error at parentheses, and we say on error occurred. So if the error occurred, then display the snack bar, that is the message which occurred. And then here we can say return on error occurred. So if the user is authenticated successfully, then we will get the FP user ID, which is called UID, using which we will save the user data inside the real-time database. So for that purpose, we can create a map, a data map. We will give it name as data of user. So for example, we have the user email, which we want to save to the database, email.text.trim. Then the name, phone, and the user ID of the authenticated user. As we have now the user data, we can save it to the real-time database. So we can do so by simply create a reference to the Firebase database dot instance dot reference. We will give this name as all users. So any user who create a new account, his record will be saved under this all users parent node inside the database, and each user we can recognize using its unique ID. So under all users, under the user unique ID, we will save the user record. Simply we can say dot set, and then the data of user will be set to it. So like this we save the user data to inside the database. Now as you know, it is a database function, so it will take some seconds to perform all these things. So during this time we can display a circular progress or any beautiful dialog using which the user will know that his account is creating. I have already provided this loading dialog widget file. Simply download it and then copy it, and in your project you can simply paste it inside the widgets folder. Loading dialog, which is a stateless widget, and here we have a simple dialog, and inside this dialog we add some round rectangle border, circular 12, and the background color is transparent, and we display a progress indicator, circular progress indicator with green color. Now when the process is started, then we will simply display the dialog. So we can say show dialog, And then here we can say build context, and then from here we will call our loading dialog. Now when in case of error, if any error occurred, then in that case we have to close the dialog, so we can say navigator.pop context. Similarly, in case of the Firebase auth exception, we have to do the same. And for the successful sign up, you can display a snake bar, and which will be like you can tell to the user that your account created successfully. Your account created successfully, please log in now. And here we will make sure that the user is sign out, because we want the user to first log in when the account is created successfully. So we will write the navigator.push code to send user to the login screen after successful sign up. Let's test the application. So now let's quickly sign up as a user. Olivia, let's say the phone number is this, then email, and then password. Create account, you can see that. Your account created successfully, please log in now. So now if you go to Firebase console and inside our project carpooling and ride sharing app, go to the authentication. So here you can see that the user is authenticated successfully. Then in the database you can see that all users parent node is created, under which using the unique user UID the record is saved. Call function login user, and here in the same way we will display the loading dialog first. Make sure to import this using the try catch, that is the on Firebase auth exception, which is similar just like we did here. So you can simply copy this piece of code and paste it here. Then for the login we will say final user, Firebase user, Firebase auth dot instance dot sign in with email and password. You can say dot user, and to which we pass two parameters, the email and password. So email controller dot text dot trim, and then for the password we get the password text from the text field and pass it as a password parameter. So it will basically allow the user to log in successfully if the email and password is correct. Otherwise we have to display the error message. So we can say on error occurred, and we will display the error message. Now, if the user is logged in successfully, then in that case, we will like to get the user information from the database. Let's create a reference to the database. So we can say database reference, and the reference will be to the users node in order to get the user's information. So we can say users reference, user reference, Firebase database dot instance dot reference dot child all users parent node, and that user who is just signed in with the Firebase authentication successfully. So we create a reference to that. As you know, the information is saved at this reference, that is the parent node, then the user UID. So we can say that user reference dot once dot then on value So here first we check if that user record exists, then we will proceed and fetch the user details. So we say on value dot snapshot dot value, which means if the user record exists inside the database, then simply fetch it. Otherwise, you can add a else statement to tell the user that no record found. Display snake bar, and the text will be your record not found. Let's create a new dot file inside the lib. New dot file, we will give it name as user underscore info. Here we will initialize variable, for example, the name of user, initialize as an empty string, and then of course we will do it for the phone of user and email of user. So on the login screen, to the name of user, we will assign the information we fetch, that is the name of the user which we fetch from the database, like this dot value as map, and then the exact key name using which we have the information inside the database. So it is name. So it fetch the name value and assign to this variable. So we fetch the phone and email as well, and then we can send the user to the home screen. So let's create a home screen now. Home underscore screen, import the material dot, and for now we create a stateful widget with the name home screen, and we will just display a simple scaffold here. So now when the user is signed in successfully, then we will simply send the user to the home screen. So we can say navigator.push material page route, send user to home screen, and of course you can display a message: you are logged in successfully. Let's say hooray, you can make trip requests now. Let's test the application. So let's try this. For example, this user do not exist, as we have Olivia and that's why we have to check also the other conditions, that is if the record do not exist, or let's say if the password is wrong. So you say that auth credential is incorrect. Now let's try with the correct password. You are logged in successfully. Hooray, you can make trip requests now. You will learn how to connect Google Maps in your Flutter Android and iOS application. So first of all, go to pubspec.yaml and add this dependency, Google Maps Flutter. And then after this, we will go to the browser and simply we will search for this specific dependency on the pub.dev site. Okay, go to the pub.dev and search for this dependency in order to read the documentation for this for the implementation of it. So in here, as you know, we are connecting it for the Android and iOS. So here, as you can see, we have to enable it. Open this link in a new tab and it will redirect you here. Here you will see this three-dotted button. So click on this three-dotted button, click all, and from here select your project. So for example, this is our project name, carpooling and ride sharing app. I click on it. You can see it is selected now. Then we have to click on API and services, and then we have to enable the API and services. Okay, from here you can also go to the API and services and click on enable API and services. Click on library, and inside library you can search for Map SDK for Android. Similarly, you can search for Map SDK for iOS. So let's proceed step by step. So first of all, we will enable it for the Android, and we will do the setup for the Android first and then for the iOS. Now if you are new and using for the first time the Google Cloud Services, then you have to create your new billing account. That is, you have to provide your information and create your new billing account. Once you create your billing account, you will see it here, and you have to select it from here and then click on set account. And after it, we do not want to restrict it, so we will say maybe later. Click. And then in here, what we need to do now is to create our API key. So click on the hamburger button and then go to the API and services. Here you will see this credentials button. Click on this credentials, and then at the top you see this button, create credentials. Click on this create button, API key. Click API key, and it is going to create API key for using Google Map in our Flutter project. So it will give you this key. You can copy the key from here, or you can copy it from here as well. As you know, this is the brand new key which is just created. Click on show key, so it will display the same key here as well. So copy it, and inside our project we have to paste it. So I will create a new file. Let's create quickly a new file. We will give this name as map_info, and let's create a variable and assign the key to it. This same key we will use for the iOS and for the Android. Now the next thing is the setup for the Android and iOS. So we have to add this, copy this meta, this piece of code, and inside our Flutter project, inside the Android app, src main android manifest.xml. Inside the application tag, we have to paste it. So let's paste it in here inside the application tag, and copy the map key and simply paste that here. Now after this, we are going to enable the map key for iOS as well. So go to your browser and in here in the Google Cloud Console, go to the Google Cloud Console and click on Enable API and Services, and in here we have to click here Enable API and Services and simply search for Map SDK for iOS, this one, and make sure to enable it. Enable successfully. Now let's quickly add the sample code. Let's do its implementation, then we will test it on the Android and iOS, and we will do the setup as well for the iOS. So first of all, here we have to copy paste this camera position, which is the default location. In case if the live location is not working, then it will simply fetch this location as default location. Then after this, also we need to add the Google Map here. So let's start the implementation of Google Map, how we can implement it in Flutter. So copy this piece of code, which is for an instance of Google Map controller, and using this basically we will control the Google Map. So let's quickly define this, and then we define the controller map instance, body stack, children widget, and then Google Map. Initialize a double data type padding from bottom Google Map with 0, using which we will set the padding of Google Map from the bottom of the screen. The My Location enabled and My Location button is false because we will add our own custom marker. And then the initial camera position will be default and the style will be black theme. So I will provide this file. You can simply download it and then you can copy it and paste it inside the libs folder. You will see this is the map style custom. You can see a JSON type code, and this will basically give us a black theme with a clear map, just like Uber or inDrive. So you can simply call that map style custom here on map creator Google Map controller. Assign map controller Google to the controller Gmap instance. Let's rename this one. So this will be controller Gmap completer, and then controller Gmap completer dot complete controller Gmap instance. Open up Android emulator and test the application. So you can see the app is running, and when we logged in, you can see the Google Map is visible now on our Android phone. Now is the time to test also on the iOS, but for the iOS we have to do this setup. So in case of iOS, you need to simply go to your iOS module. Inside the iOS module we have runner, and then here we have this file app-delegate. So if you have app-delegate.swift file just like this, then you will follow this piece of code. Otherwise, if you have app-delegate.m, then you will follow this piece of code. So as in our case it is app-delegate.swift, so we will simply copy the piece of code from here, which is this key. Okay, so copy this piece of code and we have to paste it in here in our app-delegate.swift file in here, just like this. And you have to paste the Google Map key in here. Copy this import Google Map and paste this as well in our app-delegate.swift file at the top. Open up the terminal, run the following commands: flutter clean. I will provide these commands, so you have to just copy paste it and press enter step by step. So run these commands stepwise, just like this. And then the next thing is we have to run the cd iOS command, and then the pod install dash dash repo update. So the repo is updated and we can test it now on our iPhone. So let's open up the Xcode, open up our project iOS module in Xcode. So let's test the phone on the iPhone 16 Pro simulator. Click on the play button and it is building the app. Let's quickly log in, and here is the Google Map. So it has been implemented successfully for the iOS as well. You will learn how to get the user current location, that is the live location of user, and then also we will implement how to ask for the location permission from the user. So let's proceed step by step. And first of all, we will get the user current position, or you can say user live location. So for that purpose, we have to go to the pubspec.yaml and we have to add geolocator dependency. Click pubget, and then let's start implementing. We first get the position of the user using the geolocator.getCurrentPosition, and the user current position is basically we have to convert it to latitude and longitude in order to display this location of user on the Google Maps. So we have to convert it to lat-lang format. Then we initialize the camera position, which is for the Google Map, that is where we want the camera to animate and at which zoom value. So for example, zoom is 16, and around the user lat-lang, that is around the user position, we want to animate the camera. We call the function from here, and then next thing is to ask for the permission from the user. That is, we will access your device location. So we can do that using geolocator. Geolocator.isLocationService enable. First we check. If it is not enabled, then we display a print message that is location services are disabled. Then we check the permission. If it is denied, then we say permission denied, and then if the permission is permanently blocked, that is denied, then we print permission permanently denied. Other than this, it means the location permission is granted, and simply get the user current position, or you can say get the user live location. Go to the Android manifest.xml file and add these two permission, access files location and access course location. Same we can do for iOS. Inside the info.plist, please add these two permission. However, in case of the Android, I already told you, please go to the Android manifest again and add this third permission, access background location. And once you do this, now let's test the application first on the Android phone. So as soon as in case of emulator, if you are testing on a real phone, then it's okay, you can test it directly. But if you are using Android emulator like this, then you have to set the device location, just like you see on your screen. You can go to the extended controls, click on location, and here you can search your location which you want to set for this device. So for example, I search this location. You can mark on location and click on set location. Okay, just like this, just mark any location and click on set location, and then that's it. So now when you log in, it asks for the permission. So allow the location permission, and here we go. As you can see, it allow the permission, and when it is allowed, then you can see that it will get the current location. It will get your current location. Now let's test the app on our iPhone. For the iPhone testing, first of all, we have to run the commands in the terminal, which is cd iOS, and then run the pod install command. And then after this, you can go to the Xcode and open the iOS module in Xcode. So let's install the app on our iPhone 16 Pro simulator. Now here I have to mention that please make sure that if you are testing on your real iPhone, then the app will run directly, okay? Otherwise, if you are testing it on your simulator, then you must set your simulator location. For example, you see this is the iPhone 16 Pro simulator, which is not a real phone. So from the top, you can simply click on features, then click on location, and then the custom location. And here you have to provide the latitude and longitude. So for example, go to your browser and open Google Map. In your browser, search for Google Map and just search your location. For example, let's say any location I click here, it shows me the latitude and longitude, okay? When I click on the map anywhere, you see that it shows me the latitude and longitude. So you have to, for example, provide these values here in order to set your iPhone simulator location. So click OK, and that's it. The location is set, and you can test your app now. It asks for the permission, so allow, and you can see that it gets your current location. You will learn how to add a custom marker on the user location, on the user live location, so that we can track. I will provide this image. Please download, copy it, and paste it inside the images folder. Now in here we will define the bitmap descriptor and marker, and then inside this function we access that marker using bitmap descriptor from the asset, and we define the size for that image marker. For example, 46 width and 48 width and 48 height, and then the path to that specific marker. Once you do this, then we have to assign this icon to our custom user location icon. And then here inside the init stat, we will call this, so that whenever this page loads, it must access this specific icon marker from the asset. And then we have to update user marker on Google Map. So you know that we are accessing the user live location, the user current location, and in order to display marker on the Google Map, we have to convert the position or location of the user in lat-lang format. And then we initialize a marker set, and we check if the marker set do not contains the user location marker. Then in that case we have to add the user location marker to our marker set, and any other marker which we will be displaying in later on in this course, that is on the Google Map. For example, the nearest online drivers marker, we will add that also to our this marker set. So we checked if the marker set does not contain user location marker, then simply we add this user location marker to our marker set, and then we call this function from here. Also, we have to make sure to update the UI once the marker is added. So make sure to write here set state, and then also we need to add this marker set to our Google Map. So Google Map has a property markers, and assign marker set to it. Let's test this on our Android phone first. And Once you get the location, you can see that this is the user current location. Then open up Xcode, and now let's test it on the iPhone. So iPhone 16 Pro simulator, let's succeed, and you can see that it displays the marker on user location.